everyone. So it is time for my December of 2015 wrap up of all the books that I read in that month. I read 7 books in December, which was kind of awesome for me. I don't know that I've read that many books in a month in a really long time, so I'm super just amazed by the amount of books that I was able to complete. Yeah! So, I'm just gonna go and jump into all the books that I read. So, the first book that I completed that I've kind of been talking about on this channel while I've been reading is The War of the Flowers by Tad Williams. This book is about a man named Theo, and he kind of discovers that he has a connection to the fairy world, which is sort of adjacent to our current world, and a lot of insanity is ensuing because the rulers of the fairy world are at odds. Somehow Theo is involved in this and he doesn't know how he's involved in it. So it's really interesting and very exciting, and I love the character development, and it was just a 5-star book. I'm so glad that my mom said, read this book, Jazz, because it was a good suggestion. Next book I completed was Misery by Stephen King. If you don't know what Misery is about, this book is about a writer who is kidnapped by his #1 fan. If you've watched some of the videos on my channel, you know that there was like an eternal debate on whether I had completed this book or not, because I had watched the movie, I'd read the screenplay, and I think I started the book, but I wasn't sure if I completed it because I just wasn't sure, and so I made it my determination to read it. I jumped right into reading it as soon as I finished War of the Flowers because I did not really want to be reading Misery around Christmas time. It's just not, you know, a Christmassy type book. Good book, but not a Christmassy time book. So I jumped right into it early in December and read it. It is a really fast read, a really interesting read. I kind of only gave it 4 stars because it is an experience. It's not like something that you go, hey, woohoo, let's go be King fun. No, that's not Misery. And I'm 99% sure that I never completed the actual book, that I did just watch the movie and read the screenplay, because there's things in the book that you would not forget. Things that involve a blowtorch. But I was really glad that I finally completed it, and I completed it this year because now I know for sure that I've read it, and that is awesome. Next, I completed Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I think everybody probably knows what Peter Pan is about. You know, Peter Pan, boy that doesn't grow up, lives in Neverland, Lost Boys, etc., etc. This beautiful edition that I got, that's got these really cool interactive illustrations and fabulousness, is a book that I got kind of for Christmas. My parents just let me go to Barnes & Noble and pick out stuff that I liked there for Christmas. So I got it before Christmas and I can enjoy it before Christmas. And it was very fabulous. I quite liked Peter Pan. Kind of gave it 4 stars just because sometimes the sentence structure kind of like weaved a little too much and I would like lose focus. But that doesn't mean I didn't love the book. It was like, I guess it was more of a 4.5 star. I would just take off that little half star just because of the weaving of the sentence structure. But it's really kind of an interesting book. I liked seeing like what the characters were originally like as opposed to what different adaptations do with them. I would say that, you know, Peter is a little creepier in the book, but you know, he does like raise his own self and he never grows up, so it totally makes sense, doesn't it? So I'm really glad that I completed this, and I'm so glad that I own this pretty book. Next book I read was The Gift by Richard Paul Evans. I wanted to read a book kind of the week of Christmas that was sort of Christmassy, and Richard Paul Evans wrote the book The Christmas Box, and I quite enjoy The Christmas Box, so I thought I would just give The Gift a try. This book is about a man who really doesn't like the holiday season. There's a really deep reason why he doesn't like it, but he kind of struggles in his life because of his backstory. Over the holiday season, he meets a woman and her two children, and her son has a healing ability, so he can heal people, but when he heals people, it kind of makes him take the disease or whatever into himself. So this little boy is very sick, and it's just about this man and this woman who basically fall in love and have to deal with certain obstacles. I did enjoy this book. It was a nice light read. It's just something to just sit and just enjoy that's pleasant. It's a little bit predictable, so I did give it 4 stars, but I feel like just because you can kind of predict an outcome of a book doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the journey. So I did enjoy the journey, and it was a really fast read and really entertaining, so I would highly suggest reading The Gift if you're looking for that kind of thing. Next, I finally finished the second book in the Millennium Trilogy, which is The Girl Who Played with Fire. This is my second time reading the book. I read it once in print, and then I was going to quickly read it in audiobook, but as you know, it didn't happen quickly. It took me a really long time to finish the audiobook just because the chapters are kind of long. So I finally went, I'm going to finish this because I want to finish the third book before the end of the year. So I was like, I'm going to finish this second book, and I finished it. I was really excited. I actually really prefer this one in particular in audiobook. I think I gave it like 4 stars when I read it in print, and I gave it like 5 the second read through when I listened to it in audiobook, just because I feel like in audiobook the characters are a lot clearer to me, and some of the political stuff in there is a lot clearer to me. Next, I completed Changeless, the second book in the Parasol Proctorate trilogy by Gail Carriger. I really loved the first book, and I really quite loved the second book, and I really liked learning new things about the world that I didn't know, because I love the world building in this series so far, and it was just kind of fun to see what was going on. And they went to Scotland, which was really fun, and all sorts of like crazy things ensued, and the people in there are hilarious already, so I found that really amusing, and it had a cliffhanger. So I would say 5 stars for Changeless. And the last book I finished for the month was The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, which is the third book in the Millennium Trilogy. I like this one. I'm not sure what my rating on this is yet. There were some things with the characters that I was like, yeah, that's the same thing they do with every one of these 3 books. So I was like, but I feel like I'm leaning towards 5 stars just for the structure and just for how he weaved all this stuff together at the end. And also I liked that it had like a good end. That is always really important. I marathon this book. I'm so proud of myself because I was like, it was like 8 days until the end of the year, and I was determined to finish this book series by the end of the year. Technically, there is like a 4th book in the Millennium series that is written by another author, but I'm not going to count that book just because it wasn't written by Stieg Larsson, and also because I've heard that it's really not that good, so I might not be reading The Girl in the Spiderweb, or whatever it's called. I might read it out of curiosity, but I'm not going to jump right into it. We'll see about that 4th book that's not really the 4th book to me. But I'm really happy that I finished the main trilogy. So those were all the books that I read in December. I'm not going to do my TBR in this video right now, really, because I have made a video that is my TBR for all of 2016, and I'm going to edit that and put that up probably next week. The only reason that I haven't put it up yet is because it's, you know, quite a lot of books, so it might take me a little bit longer to edit. Probably one of the books in that video is gonna end up, you know, being the TBR for this month. I did, however, forget to mention that I do want to finish the Parasol Proctorate series in my series section, so I will mention that now because I'm not going to go back and film that video again. So no, that is included in the series section. section. So that is it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.